Hi there, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. Welcome, welcome. I am continuing to work on my document tall and skinny journal. And here is something I don't think I shared the last time we were together. And that is there is actually more writing space in this type of journal than in a TN, a traveler's notebook, because you're using the full page and you're just folding it, the long way. Where with a traveler's notebook, you end up cutting off part of it to make it the 8.5 by 4.25. So I just wanted to share that, just to show you the difference between the two. One of the many differences, I guess. And this ends up being then 4.25 by 11 inches because you're using the whole sheet of paper. Now, if you're in England or another country, it won't be 8.5 by 11. It'll be something by 10.5. It'll be a little bit smaller than this, just a tad. All right, so today there's a couple things I want to do. I am making, of course, ephemera 4 here, but I also wanted to share with you how I age paper in a very easy and simple way. So let me just show you. So here is the printout. All right, so the printout is already somewhat aged, of course. It has the shading on it, but it's a very clean edge on it. It doesn't really look that old. Now, you could just simply distress it and use it. That's fine. But if you want something a little bit more shabby looking, sort of like this one, where it looks worn, right? It looks like it's been around for a little while compared to that one. I'm going to show you how I distressed this. It's very simple, nothing complicated. And this is not the only way to distress an aged paper. I mean, truly, there must be lots of ways. But this is just how I do it. Now, I take a pair of scissors, and the first thing I'm going to do is sort of distress the edges here a little bit. So I'm going to hold them just like this. So there's like this little V, kind of hold it steady there. And then I'm just going to simply scrape on it, okay? Now, you could tear this. You could tear this like I tore these edges in here, okay? Like you could distress it this way. This is a little bit more of a subtle distressing. And then once in a while, I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to cut out a little nick in there. And I just go all the way around like so. Now, you can, and this is fine, this is great. When you do a little tearing, do not worry, because that is part of the aging part of it. Okay. All right, so I might take out a little bit over here. Just take out a little nick. Okay, a little divot or two. Now what I have gotten is I've gotten an edge distressor, and this is by Heidi Snap, but there must be other brands out there, of course. And the reason that, and it works the same way as the scissors, but I did this because I'm going to probably do more, I'm going to do quite a bit of it, and I didn't want to dull my scissors. Now, if you're just going to do this, occasionally or whatever, I'm sure the scissors will be fine. Or you might want to get a cheap pair of scissors and just designate them for this. And so once I have done that edging a little bit, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to really get in there and distress it up, sort of getting into where I've been doing it. And so these tears, I'm going to distress the edges of these tears. Now, another thing you can do, which is really cool, and that is you can age cellophane tape and tape over that. And there are a number of videos out on how to do that. I'll try to link one down below, but essentially you just put tape onto a waxy surface where you can peel it off and on, and then just take your inks, your alcohol inks, you have to use an alcohol ink, and just spread it around and dye the paper or the tape, and you've got like aged tape. I don't happen to have that with me, so I'm not doing that. Okay, now I've done that. Now I'm going to just kind of go in and do a little wiping here and there, especially on the edges, because these are where a lot of aging takes place. Now I'm also going to be doing the back, but I'm just going to come through here as if it fell on the floor and somebody stepped on it and it needs to be brushed off. There we go. Now the next thing that I like to do is dog ear the corners. I think that is pretty cool. I think that a lot of papers just get, dog-eared over time. They get shoved into a file or something like that, and they just end up folding on themselves. And so I'm going to get in there and distress that area quite a bit. There we go. There. And then I like to glue this down just a tad so that it doesn't undog ear itself. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue along there and a little dot of glue right there, and just to kind of hold that down a tiny bit like so. All right. And then I'm going to fold my ephemera, and I'm going to, sometimes you may want to fold it 3 ways. You may want to fold it a little sloppy. So, you may want to do something like that where it's just a little off kilter, a little bit. And you'll want to go in here into these seams or these folding areas. And we're going to distress those. And then I'm going to unfold it and distress that. So we're just making this sort of shabby, sloppy, grungy, whatever you want to call it. All right, we're just trying to age it just a little bit. Okay, and so I might even dog ear that little rip right in there. Okay, let me glue that down so it doesn't tear all the way. I'll just put a little dot of glue there and we'll just dog ear that up. So this looks like, it's been around the block a few times, and that's the whole point of this, right? So now this looks nice and aged, and you've got a little piece of old looking ephemera. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now another thing you can do, now this is paper, if you're working with the cardstock. So let's look at this here now. Where did I put that photo? Okay, here's the photo. I did distress it with ink around the edge a little bit, but it's pretty clean. It's pretty clean and smooth looking, whereas it may not show up well on camera, but it is. So I kind of go in there and I'm going to, you can be a little bit more pressure when you're working with cardstock. And I'm just going to get in there just here and there, not everywhere, but just different places. I'm going to do that and get that in there like so. Now I'm going to, this is not going to be a piece of ephemera you take out. I'm going to glue this down on something so the back is white. And then I might do the same thing. We'll just sort of dog ear this here like that. All right, and I might go over it just kind of wiping, so it's kind of a dry sponge there a little bit, just a little bit like that. And then I'm going to kind of not exactly put creases in it, but I'm just going to kind of do this. So see how I'm creating some wrinkles in here? I hope that shows up. I'm just sort of doing this. So now it looks like it's been around the block for a while. And so we can compare that with one that I've only distressed the edges. So it looks a little bit more aged. So that is how I have been aging paper or ephemera. And it's not the only way, but it's a way that's working for me. So I have a couple ideas today I'm going to share with you as well. So I'm going to make a belly band inside my journal here. And let's go to the page I had picked out. I like to put large pieces like belly bands on pages where you may not be writing it, doing a lot of writing because it's so much of a design. And kind of like to save the plain pages for, for writing. So I had this really great old book and page, and it has this great rose diagram down here. Love the colors and everything. I'm going to make a belly band here, but I want my belly band to look very random. So first I'm going to glue the belly band in so I know where I want it at. And we'll just, I'm using cardstock so that it'll have some body to it, and I'm just going to glue it like right here. Oops. Just like so. Now my ephemera that I'm going to use to decorate the belly band. So this is not going to be ephemera you take out, but it's going to decorate it. My thought is I really want it to look like somebody just shoved these pieces in here real fast, right? So we have like a hotel postcard advertisement. We have a piece of wallpaper. These are digitals. Either the, I think I got these from Ephemera's Garden actually in her club. I like the word run on there so that it looks like, it's like a sample. So somebody, has a hotel they want to remember, they have a sample of wallpaper they like, and they have a photo they want to keep. So this all looks very random. And I'm staying within the borders of my page, and I'm covering up that belly band. All right, so they look kind of random, and I love that that she's holding this rose, and there's a rose here and a rose there. I love how that all worked out. I mean, it's so great when your scraps work out. So now I'm going to hold on to this. Now I can just glue these together, but I am going to sew them. So I'm going to clip them in here so that I have them, and I'm just going to run stitching across here and across here. All right, I have sewn on just the top of these cards a little bit. Okay, I added a little bit of crochet lace. Now I'm going to glue this onto the belly band. And this way it looks like it's very random. And I'm going to put glue on the belly band because that's the only place I want glue. Don't want it on the page, of course. And we're just going to lay this in like so. All right, there we are. Okay. So now we have a belly band over here where eventually, once I figure out what I'm putting in there, you're going to be able to slip in a little bit of ephemera. And I can probably put maybe a little bit more on there. So we'll see. I will see what more decoration I may add to this. So that kind of gives that belly band sort of a, just a messy, I'm just stuffing it in here, keeping these things inside look to it. So I kind of liked that one. And one more thing I wanted to do today, and speaking of traveler's notebooks, it seems like if you make a lot of that size of a journal, you have these strips left over. But you have strips left over no matter what. I mean, if you use like 12 by 12 paper, you cut it down, there's usually a strip something left over, and so I want to use those up. So I have them all in here. Okay, I'm going to make a little notebook, and I have a little piece of cloth that happens to be the perfect size, and it's got this beautiful shabby wallpaper type of looking rose that really matches the the wallpaper printout here that I've been using. Really, that was a nice find in my scrapbook, in my scrap tray. So what I'm going to do, and now you can glue this, so you could glue like the tops of all these together. That's what I would do. I would glue them, just a little bit of glue. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do it, even though when you sew these, you won't necessarily have to do that. But if you're just going to glue, then I would just put a little run of glue here up on the top. Okay, just like that. Just a little bit. Here, let's do this here. Okay. So just enough to hold them together. And then I would take my piece of cloth. And of course you can always use paper for this if you prefer. But I'm going to take that and I'm going to fold it over. All right, I just ran a stitch up there. But you wouldn't have to run the stitch. You could just glue the cloth down there as well. And then take a nice heavy tapestry needle that's, you know, pretty heavy, thick there. And some pearl cotton or floss or something of that nature. And you can start sewing by poking holes in here. Okay, and I'm going to sew across that stitching, just like so. So we kind of stitched it here. I guess the green doesn't show up that well, but it's well enough, right? It's well enough. And I'm just going to cut these off like that. I was thinking about using this clip, but oops, I think, I don't know, might be too big. Yeah, I think in the end I'm going to get a rusty paper clip and put up there is what I think I might end up doing. But that way we have a little notebook here to write on. Okay, so that's kind of using up your scraps just like that. So I'm going to stop there. I did want to share with you that I'm going to be away for a few weeks. So I did pre-record a few videos that will be playing while I'm gone. But when I return, we will probably finish this up. So thank you so much for viewing. I hope that kind of helped you a little bit. And you have a great and crafty day. Bye.